Just wanted to take a minute to speak about the Quadlock system and my personal dislike of the system. Maybe even dislike's a strong word, but I used it and I found that it was limiting for me, which I suppose is dislike. This isn't necessarily the moto system, but the mechanism is the same as you would get on any of the non-magnetic moto systems, and that is a clip which allows you to have a mounted phone with a relevant support in house. This is a universal fitment for an existing case, and the idea is with the Quadlock that you seat within the mechanism, turn, click, and then you've got a secure. One of the pros of that, it is very secure. Once it's in, you can see, you're not going to be able to get that out. Ultimately, it places really well. The problem is on a motorbike, depending on your fitting, and in most cases the way where your fitting will be, it'll be mounted in a place where it's the mounting itself is behind the phone. So if it's sitting in a position like this, you put the phone on, and the actual mechanism that you do have to kind of maneuver a little bit, it's not just touch when you have to release, it is behind the phone, and when you've got gloves on, getting into that space can be quite difficult. The second big issue with that is that it can be quite hard to get the exact placement. It isn't super exact, you can kind of feel around for it slightly, but what can happen is they can become misaligned. If you don't have it directly parallel, then it feels like it's mounting, but it's actually not on the back, and you've got a gap, and then the phone might come off after that point. So I find that the placement is just generally fiddly. Another downside, and again I've had it twice on two separate mounts, but over time, because you're on a motorbike, dirt and grit can get into the mechanism itself, and therefore over time it actually sticks just like this, where the mechanism doesn't pop back to its natural sitting place when you mount the phone itself, which it should. I've got around this before with WD-40 lubing up that point, but ultimately if there's grit in there, the WD-40 might not get it out, so you'll be stuck with a slightly sticky fitment. So again, what can happen there is you've mounted it, you put it in the exact place, but then you're trying to pull as opposed to just wait for the click to happen against the mount. So overall, I found it frustrating and time consuming, and when you just want to put your phone on go, you can't necessarily do that. So what I decided to do was try a different product, and in my specific case, I went for the Mous system. I don't know how well known this brand is. They're relatively newcomers, and the quality of the case itself is very good. As good, I would say, as the Quadlock mount. I would say the Quadlock cases are actually quite good as well, as in they offer plenty of protection and they cover all of the primary phones. But it's much simpler on the back. You've just got 4 holes on the back of the mount itself, and those directly line up with 4 equivalent sized kind of mount points on the mount itself, and all that's required is lining those up, clicking, and then equally to the Quadlock, you're directly mounted at that point, and ultimately I haven't found that it'll go anywhere beyond that point. And then on the back there's 2 buttons which are release, and there's no maneuvering, there's no angling, there's no kind of perfect place to get it right. It is purely flat and release, and I haven't seen there be any downsides of the mount itself, as in it doesn't occasionally sort of side mount or anything. It's fairly obvious when it's directly seated, and it's very easy to get off even with gloves. I've never found myself thinking twice about the mechanism. And also, as per the Quadlock, it does come, you can get it with the maneuverable shock proof, if you like, mount, which means that the phone, the mount itself will oscillate rather than pushing the vibration of the bike through the phone, which avoids issues where the camera can malfunction and so on if that happens over time. And so far I found that to be does its job. I haven't noticed any side effects for the phone itself. So recommended for the Mous. There are similar, but with offer, I found the Mous is actually relatively affordable as well. You know, similar territory to the Quadlock. Quadlock is not a super expensive product, but this is the one that has worked for me. So yeah, recommended. I wouldn't totally rule out with the Quadlock. I know a lot of people are very happy with these, but for me, the Mous has been better. So yeah, hopefully that is useful, and thanks for watching.